So basically, you have to earn your rest.
I thought nobody's going to save me. I've got to save myself.
Mhm.
So I said, how am I going to do this? I always
And
say, listen to the whisper or it'll start to yell.
yeah.
Thoughts are racing, spinning fast, ideas flow, but
In
never
today's
last.
episode, we're talking about the 3N method, to-do versus to-do lists, the 2 a.m. productivity trap, somatic whispers, termite bites of happiness, and fighting the gray.
Rambling on, no straight lines. Welcome to my busy mind.
Hello and welcome to Ramblings of a Busy Mind. And I got that right today. It's the 50th episode, so I'm so happy. Which actually, it's funny because it was supposed to happen earlier, but me getting sick and the voice is still not completely there, and I might still cough. Um, but it being the 50th episode, it's cool that that happens with Bonita, my guest today,
Ah, thank
because
you.
she is a happiness distributor. And I grumbled that on great. My German English, yeah, a happiness distributor. Did I say that right now?
I'm a happiness strategist and I do distribute happy.
Yeah,
So it's all good. I
it's
try to
so,
find the happy anywhere and everywhere.
yeah, and that's so interesting because that's one of my mottos, find your happiness everywhere,
Yeah.
anywhere, and anytime.
Yeah.
Because that was my story, realizing that I became a negative Nelly and then choosing happiness. And choosing happiness
Yeah.
allowed for all kinds of things to happen and all kinds of opportunities come in. But people don't see that.
Exactly. Yeah, they're so stuck in the negative, that's all they see. And our brains are designed to find the negative for survival, but life is rather sedate these days. We're not being chased by big animals. We don't need to be looking for the negative all the time. So it's time to start looking for the positive.
So, Bonita, I scrambled the beginning already by not introducing your name. Do you want to do that?
Sure. Hi, I'm Bonita Pafford.
And you were an educator, a teacher.
I
What
was for over
else?
20 years. I was a high school teacher, mainly working with people who had learning disabilities.
Hmm.
And I was English reading specialist as well. And
Hmm.
I also taught at a college. So I had a lot of different things that I was doing.
A lot of hats.
Yes, and I loved it. I have to be busy. I just love to learn. I love to teach, and I like to experience new things. I've been a dance teacher. I've been in some movies and industrial videos, and I was a radio announcer and a whole bunch of other really fun things. And if I'm not likely to get killed doing it, I'm willing to try.
And that from a Newfoundlander living in Ontario, correct?
Correct. Yes, I'm born and raised in Newfoundland, and I've been in Ontario now for how long? 30 years, I guess. Yeah, 30 years. That's a long
Mm.
time.
Well, I'm 20 years in Nova Scotia, so or on Cape Breton Island. So
Oh, yeah.
home is where
Beautiful
the heart
place.
is, right? That's the
That's
thing.
right. And I drive through Cape Breton every year on my way to visit my mom in
Well, next
Newfoundland.
time you stop for a coffee.
I'll have to do that.
So you have a story of having to relearn yourself, if I
Yeah.
have that correct in my head. And that was part of what sparked what you're doing now. Is that correct?
Hmm.
So tell
Yes.
us about that.
And sure. Now, when I was a teacher, I used to have this game that I played with my students. I mean, they're high school students, but they were still motivated by fun things. They
Mm,
hadn't outgrown enjoying life, which is a good thing because we outgrow it and it gets pretty boring. But every day, if they got to class on time, they could come up in front of the classroom and tell us something good. So that was kind of the rule. If you were here on time, you could tell us something good that has happened since the last time we got together. So I had to have rules, though. I had to say nothing illegal, immoral, or fattening, and nothing that would make my grandmother blush. Because they were high school kids and they would like to push the limits, right? So I've always been the type that I want people to focus on the good. And
mm,
then I was in a car accident and got a traumatic brain injury.
mm.
It really messed up my speech and my balance. People couldn't understand me when I was talking. I fell a lot. I broke quite a few bones as a result of the falls. And my relationship ended. My son had to go live with his dad. It was just total turmoil. And I ended up losing my teaching job because they could only hold it for so long. But I finally got to the point where I thought, you know what? Maybe I can go back and teach one class a day. And because I was starting to get better. Then I walked into a building and part of the ceiling came down on my head. I
Hmm.
got another traumatic brain injury. So then I thought, all right, universe, what are you trying to teach me here?
Don't go in schools.
Well, you know what? I thought I've got to be doing something else, I guess, because
Yeah.
the teaching thing is not going to happen. So I went into a very deep depression because I had just fought my way back. And now here I was back at the beginning again. And I thought, nobody's going to save me. I got to save myself.
Mhm.
So I said, how am I going to do this? What can I do? And one of my degrees is heavy in psychology. So I went back to the old textbooks and all right, I got to get, this part of my brain going again. I've got to do, X, Y, and Z. And I thought, all right, I can do this. And I started looking for one good thing every day. And it could just be that it wasn't raining, or it
Mhm.
could be that I didn't have to talk to anybody because I was so garbled with my speech. I was embarrassed. And here I had been a teacher and a radio announcer, and now people could not understand me. So I looked for the tiniest little things to make myself feel a bit better, and it worked. So those tiny little glimmers got to be bigger, 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 and more often. So I did that, with several years, and my friends and the people that were working on me, the professionals, the medical system, they're, what are you doing? Like, you're so different. You were pretty glum and gray and blah, and now you're happy. And I wear happy colors. I don't wear my usuals, that I was wearing when I was so down in the dumps. And I just said, yeah, I'm working on this, and I'm determined I'm going to get better. And I've never called it my head injury or my traumatic brain injury. No, 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 no. It's the bonk on the head. I do not own it. I let it go. It's not mine. So I focus on the good stuff. And it really worked really well. And I started sharing with other people and it was working for them too. And it was suggested that I really need to make this into something that's available officially for people. So that's what I did.
And that's the Wild Happiness Project now,
It
with
is.
your nice little buddy that's peeking behind the curtain.
And you know what's funny? I found this little guy a few years ago, and I said, I'm going to keep him. Someday I'm going to need him for something. And then when all of this thing came up in my mind, I thought, where's that little yellow dude? So I changed him a bit, and now I have my friend over my shoulder here.
Yeah, and
And
it's so
oh,
cool
and
to sorry to you got it knitted too.
yes.
Do you
So
sell
now
them?
the challenge, what's that, sorry?
Do you sell them?
No, no, it's just I had a lady make him for me. Now the challenge is keeping him from meeting my dog because my
Eh,
dog looks at him and goes, "Ooh,
yes.
yummy."
Yeah, I have one of those too. It's
Yep.
interesting to see that I mean I didn't have a brain injury. Mine was the negative Nelly, but I can so much relate to that find the tiny happiness instead of searching for that elusive big happiness that everybody talks about, like, I don't know, the biggest partnership and making the most money instead of looking
Yeah,
at the landscape and just see one plotch of color there. A
that's
tiny
right.
patch of red or whatever in the gray in wintertime and or see some of the animals. So that's where we're like in rural Nova Scotia. It's cool because you see the eagles. Lately, it's been a lot of hawks, cranes, all kinds of herons. So like a lot of birds around me, which is interesting because it shifts. But if you find that tiny happiness every day, it accumulates and it accumulates
Exactly.
way more than when you try to find that big happiness that's not really at your hands or in your reach, right?
What I always say is be like a termite. What causes more damage, termites or earthquakes? It's termites because
Mm-hmm.
millions, trillions of tiny little bites can do more than an earthquake can. So
We
be a
have
termite.
we have a saying in Germany, steter Tropfen höhlt den Stein. So a steady drop will hollow the stone,
Hmm.
but it just needs a drop every day.
That's right, exactly. And if you focus on those drops, life is so much brighter. It's just
Mm-hmm.
a happier place. And you don't notice the gloom. You just notice because your eyes are now trained to look for the good stuff. And it makes your heart sing. Everything just feels better. And I don't know, it's really changed my life in so many ways, just that little shift in perspective.
Yeah. So, quick announcement. I gotta do that. I've been told I have to do that now. If you like what you heard so far and if you see some value in it, so why not subscribe and like, and especially share it with people who could use it, because that's what the podcast is for. That if we find one person that can relate to the stories that we tell per episode, then the work is done because there's one person more that finds light in the end of the tunnel. And that was my heart. Like that's my passion to provide people something that they can go, oh, it's a change of perspective. So fitting into our topic, change of perspective. I don't have to be the way I am. I can change it. And that's why. So like, subscribe and share, especially to others. And no, we keep on going. I feel so weird about that. So,
But you have to do it. I mean, the way I describe myself is I'm irrationally optimistic because I always find the good in everything, and it irritates people around me who want to be stuck down in the dumps, like, but I want to complain. Well, you go complain in the corner by yourself because I'm here to be happy and cheerful.
yeah, but it's so interesting when you start shifting your perspective from, oh, me poor and nothing works and blah 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 to, oh, there's my lesson and this is what, yeah, dumb me. So keep on going and find the lesson and find the fun in it. I'm really good at putting my foot in my mouth, literally, and and I'm the first one to laugh about it because yes, I did it again, but
Yeah.
life is too short to be depressed, to be sad, to be. It's not that I don't have phases where I pull back and wallow on the couch watching stupid videos or whatever, because usually then I just need to detach. But for the most part, I just choose happiness, and the interesting part is it's contagious. I'm thinking
Yes.
about, did you ever see that commercial? Not commercial. There was a video on, I think, LinkedIn. Mental health was sharing that, where the person walking, which is full of light and fun, and he walks, and every time he hugs somebody, the other
Yes, I
person
remember
starts
that.
getting a little bit of that, and then they start
Yeah.
sparkling.
Yeah.
Most times they show you the other way, that you're influenced by the negativity. But if you choose happiness, that's the part. If you choose happiness in your life, you will pass that on to everybody else.
That's right. Good is contagious, and so is the bad. I choose to
Exactly.
be an infection vector for good.
I love your words. I can tell you've been a teacher.
I
I
love playing
sometimes
with life.
I get most of the puns, that's funny, but sometimes I lack. It's so funny because speaking both languages and
Mm.
these times, sometimes it's more of the German than it used to be. So when I was all fully immersed in English, my words were there and I didn't have the German words. Now it's like there's more German speaking in there because there's more German friends here. And
Ah,
then I
yeah.
lack the English words. So I'm like, and
Well, you're doing great.
I'm not as fluent as my friend in Jinglish, because she can say a whole sentence and mix, like the here in Nova Scotia or in Cape Breton, it's franglais. So they speak French and English without
Yeah.
a break, without to think about it, whatever. She can do that in German. I cannot, for the love of God, I cannot. I can do English or I can do German, but I have to stop and then think about what word I do use. But
Well,
it's
where
so
I'm from
funny.
in Newfoundland, I speak Newfoundlandese. So
That's a totally different language, I know.
it is. Believe me, it really is. And the Newfoundland dictionary is about that thick. It's massive.
Well, it's like you come from uh the south of Germany, like I come from Bavaria, and you meet somebody from the north, a Frisian. Um, we don't understand each other unless we
Oh,
speak
yeah.
High German, because there's different words and slang and pronunciations even that people don't
Right.
get. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's such a tiny land. It's the size of Labrador. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Newfoundland, I don't know. I think they've got 150 dialects, their accents, and it's crazy.
Do you find that you can bridge happiness or change a situation, change your perspective with changing into the different dialects, or using
Um,
words out of your own, like out of Newfoundlandese, however you say
well,
that?
anywhere I can, make somebody laugh, bring in some humor. I mean, especially when I put my foot in my mouth. I mean, one of the things after the head injury was the stuttering was so bad. But we've got that lovely band here from the 70s called Bachman Turner Overdrive. And one of their songs was, You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. So I would often lapse into that when I'd be stuck because a word wouldn't be coming out. And I go, You ain't seen nothing yet. And of course, the Canadians would all get it. The Americans would look at me funny, but the Canadians would.
Even
So
I get
yeah,
that
if
as
you
a
try to,
German because we had that. Like I know that song.
okay, good.
Yeah, a lot of Canadian bands were actually pretty successful in Europe and in Germany.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, I don't know why, but yes, it happened.
It just caught on.
So you said your son moved in. How old were you when you had the head injury? The first
He
one.
was 13, so it
Mm-hmm.
was a tough time. And I was lucky my ex-husband was able to move into the area.
Mm-hmm.
So Nick didn't have to go too far to live with his dad. He just had to go down the highway so he didn't have to change schools.
Yeah.
But I wasn't of any use to anybody, and my mom had to come and take care of me. So
Mm-hmm.
she would fly up from Newfoundland for 2 weeks out of every month. And
Mm-hmm.
then in between, I had PSWs and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
checking on me and making sure I had food and, that kind of stuff.
It's amazing when you like I know how many people as I work with PTSD and how many people just fall into that pit
Yeah.
and cannot climb out. And what I find even worse is when then somebody comes, and I have had that with the burnout, when somebody comes and says, "Oh, don't be like that." Like it's
Mm,
nothing. Like any type of mental challenge that you have, usually you have those restrictions in your vision, in your oversight, that you cannot see what's going on. You cannot see over the plate and find the happiness in there unless somebody takes you by the hand and gives you a pointer in the right direction or asks you a question that make you think differently. That's
exactly.
the work that I do is I mostly ask questions when I talk to someone, when I hear the stressors in their voice. So I start asking questions and not guided questions, but really questions where they have to think about what they say. And then
Hmm.
all of a sudden, their cycle of overwhelm where the thoughts go like circle, 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 circle. There's a way out because you have to shift to different perspective.
Yes,
And
exactly.
and it's so sad to see in people because it can be so easy if our supportive don't want to say staff, but the family, everybody that's the support behind you would know that anytime you judge or expect something from somebody in mental crisis, you're not helping them.
Yeah. It's too big of a load. I mean, just asking somebody to get up and get a shower,
Yeah.
that's really a big, big step. And that's why, with my program, it's you start so small, the tiniest little thing, and then you build on it, like one little sequin. Eventually, you end up with a sequin gown, but you got to start with one.
Hmm.
Like the termite again, the termite bites. One little bite starts that tree coming down.
So you call
So
it the three N's. Nurture? What I tell me.
that's okay. It's notice, nudge, and nurture. So you've got to notice it first.
Hmm.
And one of the tasks is go find something that makes you smile. And it doesn't have to be a big wee smile. It's just, okay, cool. So you notice something, anything. And then you've got to nudge it because unless you keep track of something and tell your brain, I want to learn about this, I want to remember this, unless you do that, your brain doesn't register it at all. It's
Hmm.
just gone through.
Yeah.
So the notice, then you got to nudge it into your brain and then you got to nurture it. So you got to
Mhm.
write it down, tell somebody about it, look for it again, keep score. So I use a lot of trackers, a lot of sheets of paper or on your computer where you're actually saying, here's what I saw today. Check mark, check mark, check mark, because your brain loves to keep score.
Hmm.
And when you start looking at the score afterwards, like, wow, I saw 37 amazing things this week. That's really cool. And if you
Yeah.
hadn't been writing it down, you probably wouldn't have registered any of them.
That's why I like the reflection. I do reflection journals and happiness trackers. Um,
Yes,
because again, we're not aware of what's going on in front of us. We're so caught
exactly.
up in the overall and the everything that's going on. And what I learned too is that we assume we know what the other person that we deal with thinks and knows and wants, but we don't know anything.
We haven't got a clue. My mom
Neither,
used to always, oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
keep on going.
Okay. My mom used to always say if you could go into a party and leave all your cares in a paper bag and just your name is on it, you leave it outside the door. You go in and you have a great evening, not a care in the world. And then you're told when you're leaving, you have to take a bag with you, but it doesn't have to be your own. You can take any bag you want. Odds are you're going to take your own because you know what's in it.
Hmm.
You don't know the issues that the other person is having to deal with because we don't go around all the time with it tattooed on our forehead, dealing with my mother having dementia, for example, or my father's in hospital, or my child I haven't heard from in a year, this kind of stuff. We don't tell people about those things, but it's there and we hide it in the paper bag. And then when you're leaving that party, you'll take your own. Odds are really good you'll take your own.
Most times it's not seen. That's the other part. Like I had a very nice interaction a couple of weeks ago that I support, like I deliver a food bank
Hmm.
for the food bank. And I had a really bad day and I didn't even realize how bad it was until one of the ladies stepped up and said, come on with me. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Did I do something wrong? The first thing that you think, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And she says, are you okay? And being usually the one who asks others, it was so neat to see that somebody saw me
Mm-hmm.
and asked without me having to say anything.
Yeah,
And
that
it
means a
is
lot.
like, and I wasn't even aware how bad that day was for me at all. Like, I'm not the person that usually is all this is F and whatever.
Yeah,
But that was a day like that.
yeah.
And she saw
Oh,
me. But on the other hand, I don't like if I see a friend or somebody, even if I don't know them, I committed to assisting others. So and it was reconfirmed. So in 2014, I said I'm gonna work with mental health. Started with PTSD, but then it grew to I gonna work with mental health, especially as I had a friend who is or have a friend that is borderline, and he
hmm.
got into deep trouble, and he was one of the people who taught me that with questions you can change the world for them.
Right.
But as I opened myself up for that, I have these people, and I don't want to say these people, I have people with those challenges coming into my life every day. And driving
Yeah.
taxi is even more. So it's
Right.
interesting. So I'm like, I have people who get in the taxi and they share their life story with me.
Yes.
They know me for 5 minutes, but I opened the space for that, so I'm getting it. And for the most part, I don't mind because for the most part, my life is just I find the happiness so I can listen to you. You can rant and ramble with me and I can just let it go because
Yeah.
it's not mine to take, right? But
Right.
how many people make stuff their own and then want to change you instead of
Yes.
letting you be the way that you are?
Yeah. Just listening. I mean, people just need an ear. And we seem to have lost that community where we had that. So, I mean, there's more people having to pay for somebody to listen. But we used to have our friends, our family, our neighbors. And actually, I just I'm in the process of organizing a neighborhood garage sale. I used to do it years ago with my son. And at the end, then we would have a neighborhood barbecue. People would drag their barbecues out from the backyard, put them on the front yard, and we'd all just have everybody get together. And I thought it's time to do that again. So I went around to the, I don't know, 150 houses in the area, gave everybody an invitation, join in the garage sale either as a seller, a buyer, you got stuff you want to give away for free, put it out, and then let's do a barbecue afterwards. Let's see how many sign up. So far I've got six, and I've only, let's see, I finished handing out the slips last night. So we'll see. Just trying to get people talking to each other again.
Community is such a big part, and having a supportive community is amazing because they help you find your way. They're assisting you without binding you onto something. I struggled with my title as the burnout recovery guide
Mhm.
because it didn't fit. It fit in the moment when I started using it last year. but it doesn't fit anymore because I learned about myself that I'm not so much working in the recovery, but I'm working in helping you gain your trust again in yourself,
Hmm.
helping you to listen to your body, helping you to see the signs that your body presents way before you go into burnout. And your body always yells at you to stop, to listen to the limits, to set your boundaries and whatever. And we are so used to negate that and to push that out of there.
I always
And
say, listen to the whisper or it'll start to yell.
yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting when you start looking into that and when you start realizing, I realized early on that I was totally disconnected from my body. So anything that happened with the burnout, I was all mental. I was OCD. I was like everything that you can wish for was there. Sorry. But the interesting part was at the same time, my body gave me cues. My intuition gave me cues. My five senses gave me cues and I ignored them all. Okay. So this is why I now try to, bring people into the place where I started from, get to the place that I'm now, where you can actually honor your instincts, honor your intuition, and honor the limits and boundaries that you know are there and that you constantly say, no, I can still do that. And one of the interesting parts of that was lately that I'm creating a workshop, and part of that was what came up was when you ask to do one more task before you go to sleep.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, you have to earn your rest.
Mhm.
And if you start changing the verbal, like the vocalization, not the changing the words, changing the words, then it becomes basically you have to earn rest. That's not the way it should be. You should put your
Yeah.
stuff down and you should say, I'm done for today. I'm gonna start tomorrow. And I realized that when I did stuff late at night, which was common for me, like 2 o'clock in the morning, I would still do that and it would go wrong.
Hmm.
But I never put it in context of I was earning my rest.
Yeah, a lot of people, I remember reading about that. They stay up late and they're scrolling, the doom scrolling, trying to figure
Mhm.
out if zebras are black and white or white and black. I mean, who cares? But they're still looking these things up, right? And it's our fight with structure and order. It's our way of getting back at the world. This is our time, and
Not
we're
giving
gonna
up
take over
control.
this
Like
2
I'm in
p.m.
control of my sleep and whatever. Yeah, no,
Exactly.
yes, yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
it's dangerous because you need sleep. I mean, if your sleep falls off, then everything else falls off.
If it would be just scrolling, I did bookkeeping at 2 o'clock in the morning
Oh, yeah.
because I would get a
Yeah.
second wind at 10 and then I could go till 2 or 3 in the morning. Um, Sometimes that was productive, but not always. And the older you get, the more you listen to your body, the more you realize,
Hopefully.
yeah, yeah, it's not, I'm not running on cortisol anymore. I'm not running on my, whatever stress hormones are coming up. They're not there anymore. So the next day you're like, oh, not doing
Yeah.
that anymore. So these days I really try to be in bed by 11, not always. Lights
I've
out by
been,
11:30.
yeah, I try. I mean, I've been writing books lately, and when you're in flow, it just keeps going. And you look at the clock, it's 2:45. Maybe I should crawl into bed.
Yeah,
But I got some 3 chapters done.
that's why I don't start projects that I know I dive into. I have some things that I'm really passionate about, and I really try not to start them late at night because I know that's
Yeah.
gonna be an all-nighter. So yeah.
And they hurt more these days.
Oh yeah, and we're not like I mean, I have officially I can go now to the museum and get the seniors prize.
Woohoo.
But yeah, no, and again, it's interesting when you start listening, when you start tying into that, all of a sudden things make more sense in a way. And I hate, not that I hate to say that, but yeah, moms are right sometimes.
I know. I have called my mother more than once to say, Mom, all those years ago when you were telling me, X, Y, Z, you were right. And,
Mhm.
here I am trying to deal with it now. I'm like, okay, great.
Tell us a little bit more about the Wild Happiness Project. What do you do in that? Like, is it just you working with people through certain exercises? Do you have workshops? Do you one-on-one? What does it include?
It's it's become a full ecosystem. It was supposed to be just a book, and the book is called 100 Days, 100 Ways to Happier. It's just about ready, and that's what it was supposed to be, just a book. And then it was suggested that I need to help people, hold their hand and take them through it. So I thought, okay, so I can do that. I've been a teacher for over 20 years. That's easy. And then somebody said, well, why don't you do a podcast? Because you've got the voice, you've got the experience. Why not? I said, okay, sure. So we've got Wild Happiness Project is the umbrella. Then there's Wild Happiness Radio, which is the podcast. There's the Wild Happiness Rising, which is the workshop series. There's, let's see, what are the other ones? They're all Wild Happiness something. So there's the book series. We've got 5 books now.
Cool.
I can't believe I did that, but we got 5 books.
Awesome.
And they're all about different aspects of bringing yourself back online after being knocked out of the game for a while, kind of thing. And so all different aspects. And the workshops, I've got one coming up on May 12th. And that is to introduce one of the books. And it's a neat little idea. This is something I've done for years. You know, when you do your to-do list,
Mhm.
you think, okay, here's what I got done, but man, look at all the stuff I didn't get done. So you're beating yourself up about what you didn't get done. However, if you think back through your day, you did a whole bunch of things that are not on your list.
Mhm.
Now, the average person, it's not going to matter. But if you are trying to get momentum, bring yourself back into feeling better about things, you have to keep track of those things.
Mhm.
You need to write down that you did get up, you did get a shower,
Mhm.
you put on clean clothes. Sometimes you have to break it down into the tiniest little bits.
Yep.
So it is about that. It's, taking your day apart and seeing all the things you actually honestly did, not just, you know, I managed to get to work today and I made 3 phone calls. Oh, that doesn't look like much. But you picked up groceries, you got the kids fed, you got everybody out the door on time, the dog got walked, he got fed too. So there's a lot of things that, especially as women, we don't keep track of, and you have to. So I call it the to-do and the ta-da, because you're magic. Ta-da! Look what you got done.
Yeah, that's a cool idea. I call it the got shit done.
Yeah, that's right. That works too. But I actually even have a magic wand for it. The
Yeah,
to-do
cool.
ta-da wand. I am magic. And little things like
Um,
this. I mean, that's one of the workshops is to have a box of goodies just to make yourself smile. Um, like I have, if the day is rough, I've got rose-colored glasses. I can make it look better. And, if you kind of get rid of some stress, I got a stress ball with a happy face. So I do a workshop on just having things around you that make you smile, things that you can reach out and touch, different textures, because you got to bring yourself back sometimes from wherever your brain is going. So the Wild Happiness Project started off as a book and it ended up being a humongous ecosystem, and I'm loving it. It's just so much fun. I mean, like I've got a little positive duck. He's also yellow, of course, and just fun things.
I
If you
I
gotta
love
have a,
I love that you have the color yellow in there. Like you see my
it's
room,
happy.
the color is
Yeah.
called banana yellow, banana split actually.
Okay.
And
Perfect.
part of what I've learned over the years is that color plays such a big part in your
Yes.
life. And everybody said when you say love, what's your color for love? So they usually go for the red heart or the pink, right? When I do energy work, when I send somebody love, then it's yellow. It's the
Yeah.
sunshine. It's the warmth. It's and the special picture that comes to my mind that I translate over is actually me as a 10-year-old kid in Italy at the sun, like at the beach. And you have
Hmm.
the sun burning down on you and it's warm and it's you in that cocoon that's so, and if it's really getting intensive, then people can find the umbrellas, people can find the waves going, and people can find the seagulls cawing in the back. So it's
Right.
and having the having the knowledge that color doesn't mean what it's written for. Like people give their opinion, I struggle with that. I don't like labels because labels for me are somebody else's opinion that not always works for me until I look at it, until I touch it, until I turn it 5 times around in my mind or in my heart, whatever. And then I go, okay, it fits. Or I go, it doesn't. So I'll let it go. Right. And coming from the burnout, being so stuck in my brain, every time somebody said, you have to do this, and this is the top, and this has to be, my mind would go, oh, yeah, and yes, and it has to be. But my heart was not in there.
Yeah.
And I never listened to that. I never paid attention to what really would make me happy, would make me smile. I work with singing bowls, so people come, which note do I need? What frequency is it? Oh, is it 440? No, I cannot tell if it's 440 or 432. It's a frequency range. First of all,
Yes.
I don't care about the bass note because I learned that resonance is way more important than having a certain note because only resonance will work for you and not a preconceived notion. So if you let go of those and if you find your own happiness and your own value, take what somebody says, but work with it and make it your own happiness.
Exactly. You've got to make it your own flavor. It's
Yeah,
like a recipe. You've got all these bits and pieces around, like, okay, what am I going to make? It's up to you. You've got all these parts and pieces. How you assemble it, that's your business. I mean, I'm a
exactly.
Reiki practitioner too, so I love energy work. And that's one of the other things that I love to do, and sending all the good vibes to people. And to me as well, it's yellow, it's happy, it's butterflies. I mean, that's why I have butterfly. Oh, there he is. Butterfly back here behind me because I saw my progression in life as a caterpillar in the goo after the accident, because I was a
Mhm.
happy little caterpillar. And then I was in the accident, and I was in that goo, and I didn't know what was going to happen, but I had to trust it. And I came out the butterfly on the other side, but I had no idea what it was going to be. It was just like, ew, what is this? But eventually, I came out the other side. But yeah, I mean, the energy work, the happiness, the sounds. I have singing bowls as well, and I don't worry about what the numbers say. I just go, this one feels like the right match for this person,
If
and
you
they
if
can
you
feel it.
if you take Pythagoras, who created music and math,
Mhm.
or one to create the other, whichever came first, he didn't know anything about hertz.
Yeah,
All he
he
knew
just
was
did it.
it sounded nice. That's it,
Yeah,
right? And I think if we are so much we are so much into theories and ideas and so on instead of going back to the basic, how does it feel? Does it
yeah,
make me cringe or does it make me smile? That's
yeah,
the basic. If you go with those in your life, you'll be 95% on the right path because
yeah,
you go with what your gut tells you instead of your brain. Because your
yeah.
brain is not your friend, especially not when you're in overwhelm and stress, because then it thinks it knows better than your body knows, right?
That's right. And your gut is your other brain. So it's really important to take good care of it. Eat well as best you can. I still eat chocolate every day, though. It makes me happy
That's the point.
having chocolate.
And if you crave chocolate, you're low in magnesium.
I know. Yeah, that's
And
right. And
people don't
I'm
realize
low
that.
on my magnesium too, but I just love the texture of chocolate.
Yeah.
So that's my happy. But the other thing that's part of the Wild Happiness Project is music. When you're talking about, the singing bowls and that, I did a couple of original songs, actually several, and one of them is "What You Look For, You Find," and I did it as 50 different versions, same lyrics, all different musical styles. So
Ah,
you can put 50 different versions on a memory stick and let it play all day, and it's not the same song over and over again, but you're getting it in your head with the lyrics, what you look for, you find. So I'm looking for the good today. And why not have that earworm in your head saying, look for the good stuff, find the happy, because it's out there, it's all around you.
it's so cool. I love it. Um, so tip, no, let's do another one. So if you like that so far, please subscribe, like, and share. Um, Pass it on to people that use it, that that need it, that can use it. And we would love to see that you like our stuff, and we would like to see that you subscribe and watch the next episodes or the first episodes. So yes, please.
And get happy.
Get happy. Exactly. Choose happiness. But
Right.
I actually want to say something else and now lost it.
Sorry.
No, it's me. That's typical me. I find it interesting that you go with like one type of lyrics and then having different creations of music, different types of music. Because there have been experiments like Emoto is one of them that most energy healers know about. I don't know if other people really tie into that. But basically what Dr. Emoto did was he infused water with words, music, whatever, and then froze it and said that the result, a beautiful crystal or a disturbed crystal, was due to the value of the word, the music. So per se, he said, heavy metal, for instance, is bad because it created that. What I find what he left out of the equation was his personal value of heavy metal. So he didn't
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and we often, as energy workers, we don't tie into that either, that we as the person being involved in the offering and involved in creating the circumstances for the other person, we are involved and we're influencing what's happening here. So if you're surrounded by negative people, how do you get them to the happiness, right? Without
Yeah.
them pulling you down.
It's a challenge, especially if you're in a large group where people are down. It's easier when the equation is balanced with more happy and there's one person that's not. It's like we were talking about, getting infected by the
Yeah.
happy or infected by the sad. If you've got one person that's sad, all the good people around can help lift them up. But if you're in a room full of really down people, it does take effort. And as a high school teacher, you get 30 kids in a class, all teenagers who don't want to be there.
But but how
I
did
try
you
and find something
feel?
good.
How did you feel walking into that class?
I was just bound and determined to give them the best class possible and that, turn their moods around in some way, shape, or form. And I've always been a performer. So I was very exaggerated with my movements and my speech and things like that. Like,
Mm,
hey, look up here. And it would work. And they would grudgingly come along for the ride. And then by the end of the class, they were feeling better. And my dogs were therapy dogs, the ones that I had when I was teaching. And they came to work with me several days a week.
mhm.
And the kids, especially the tough ones, would poke their nose in the door before class started. Miss, you got your dogs here today? And I'd say, what? They're here. Great. Today won't suck so bad. There.
Well, but basically you brought your support team, right?
Exactly. Because I had to try and weigh that equation out better. I
Yeah,
needed more help.
yeah.
Brought the dogs along.
But
And it worked great.
what most people don't see is walking into that room of people, they usually have the gut feeling that says, ugh, don't go.
Yeah. Whereas I would go in like, yeah, I got this.
Yeah, you're probably gonna do that for so and so long if you don't have your support team, if you don't have your support system. Um, but again, they negating the real value of their gut feeling of I don't want to do this. And that's what I've
Yeah.
been doing. Like I walked into work really like I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
And instead of listening to that and trying to change me, I expected that others would change,
Hmm.
which is another part that people don't see. Because again, we're so caught in our perspective. This is what I want. This is what I need. This is blah, blah, blah. Totally forgetting there's other people that are in that equation in relation to us that depending on how we act, we get feedback,
Yeah.
right? I have a dear friend who struggles quite often, by thinking she knows what's going on in the others and by thinking like being stuck in her, how to say, in her perspective. And then you start talking and you say, how about what could be? And then she thinks about it. She goes like, oh, maybe I did the wrong thing because I thought I know what she says. And one of the biggest things that worked for me is when I'm not sure about what's going on, I ask or I walk away because I don't get stuck in that anymore. I don't want to deal like I know there's situations that I have to deal with, and if they're not in a way that I can deal with the way they are, then I start asking questions. So what's going on? And that might be one-on-one, or that might be in a whole group. I'm usually very blunt. Thankfully, I'm German. I can always fall back on that. I'm German. So can I be blunt? Boop, here it goes. But that's one part that we don't see is we're creating our own circumstances too. It's not only the people around us, but we're creating the same if we're not open to see the other one.
And there's so many people they're stuck in who they are,
Yeah.
and that is their personality. It's like I have ADD, therefore everything about me is ADD. And I'm depressed, therefore everything about me is depressed. I cannot allow anything in. So one of the things that they have to do when they come into my program is I have a curmudgeon release form. They have to release the curmudgeon. So it's actually, they put in, I, so and so, hereby release the curmudgeon. I, grudgingly admit that I may have been a bit of a curmudgeon in the past, and I am open to releasing that part of my personality and adopting a new one that may be brighter, lighter, and happier.
Love that.
And then they have to sign it. And there's also because statements in it. I choose to do this because. And when there's because statements, people are more likely to do it because you're telling yourself this is important. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to release the curmudgeon. I'm going to be open to what is out there because I want to have a lighter, brighter, happier life. And it is amazing the difference just signing that piece of paper does. So
It
these
reminds
little
me.
tricks.
EFT.
Yes.
It reminds me of that tapping your statement and you having so much trouble tapping the new statement. Like when you're shifting that and until you get that cleared, the block out of it, you are able to say the full statement without any hindrance. But that's almost the same thing. Like you have to write it out and you have to say blah blah blah. How do they struggle voicing that? How is that? How easy is that for people?
Because I do it tongue in cheek, it's a joke.
Yeah,
It's funny. There's a
yeah,
lot of humor in it. They go, oh yeah, it's not a big deal. And then I had one lady, she said, I had no idea, but she said, yeah, this is my personality. She said, I'm the one that's standing on the front yard going, get off my lawn.
so they realize they have no issue finding their perspective because that's what
Yeah,
I
it's
find.
so
A lot of
far.
times they don't even know where they are.
Exactly. I mean, so far it's been eye-opening for people because this is just who they are. I've only got one so far that is being very resistant.
Hmm.
And it's just, she's had so many years of this is me, the world hates me, I hate the world, life sucks, and that's just who she is. And she's happy in her own way being that person. So if
Hmm.
she's already content there, what can you do?
Hmm.
She's content. She wants to be that person who is yelling at the wind. So that is her, and that is her choice at this point. And at some point, maybe she will decide, all right, it's time to change. She knows where to find me, and
Hmm.
I'm happy to help. But right now, she does not want to make any kind of changes. She's just content where she is, being, very upset with the world.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear you. I hear you. That's why when I do in-person work with the sound, I usually say that tell them they can do whatever. They can either just relax or they can start talking, whatever. It's their space. They have to be the ones who instigate whatever healing comes, not me. I just create circumstances. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. So, we're gonna share all your information on the bottom of the caption so that people can reach out to you and can find you. And I love that you do the happiness because it's my thing. I love.
Well, happiness is a foundation for life.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be big. Like you said, you don't have to win the lottery. You can still find happiness all over the place. And if you've got a good foundation for your house, a good happiness foundation, the rest of it is so much easier. And if a big windstorm comes along or some circumstance in your world changes, but you've got a good basement, the rest of the house can hang on better. So a car accident when you're already happy, all right, it's just an inconvenience at this time. We can deal with it because I've got a good solid foundation. But if you don't have that good solid foundation to fall back on, then the house will crumble. or we
Absolutely. Yeah,
falling apart.
100%. That's why I like most of my stuff is now like, okay, lesson learned, next time do it differently. I
Yeah.
actually managed to get a hole in my tire, the same tire within a year.
Mm.
So I spent $700 within a year on two tires. And
Ouch.
the second time was so funny because I just had posted you cannot do anything about what happens to you, but you can choose how you react to it.
Yes.
So I stood there with my tire and I'm like, yeah, you called for it. And I'm standing on the roadside laughing my butt off. But
Yeah.
for the most part, it is that way. It is just choose to wallow or choose to make the best out of it, to
Yeah.
switch it into something that you can laugh about. And then everything becomes easier because if I start to wallow, it pulls me down. It weighs me down. But if I choose to laugh about it and make it a joke, everything becomes easier.
Exactly. That's the way I look at it too. Like this lady who, she's a friend of mine who's stuck in her ways. I just said, all right, we're going to start with your closet. Because your closet is all black, white, and gray. And I said, let's just change that. But so I took her thrifting and picked out some brighter stuff. I said, at the very least, do that. See how you feel.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
You don't have to talk to me. You don't have to read my book. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Just wear another color. So we just started that. So I'll report back. But color makes a huge difference. And have you noticed that the world is becoming black, white, and gray? All the houses, all the cars, the colors are black,
The
white, and gray.
cars,
Those are your
yes.
choices.
The cars are white here. Like most of the cars are
Yeah,
white here.
very
Houses,
dull.
not so much. I don't think the Nova Scotians will go with black and white and
Good.
gray.
Yeah,
There's a lot of colors
more
here.
wood. Yeah, there's more wood and brightly colored
Yeah,
places like in St. John's. It's
yeah,
a
yeah.
bag of jelly beans. But up here, all the new houses are black, white, and gray, and it's very, very dull and boring. And when I bought myself a car after the accident, I said, if I can ever drive a standard again, I'll know that the brain injury is totally behind me.
Hmm.
So I bought a classic BMW Z3 convertible. It's a standard and it's copper colored. I
Ooh.
said, it's got to be an unusual color and it's got to be a standard. And there it was. So the universe said, here you go, lady. This is what you asked for. And I went, yep, okay, mine. But I'm not doing the black, white, and gray. I refuse.
Well,
I'm not playing that game.
I never wanted a white car, but I got one because it was the only one I could get.
Well, yeah, my winter car is gray,
Yeah,
but my summer car is copper.
yeah.
And
My
again,
mo
it's just I have
my
to.
my motorcycle is electric blue. So
Okay, nice. Yeah, that's great.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to do things like that. And most of the time I wear tie-dye. I have my jackets are all tie-dye jackets and I love it. And people do the double take kind of thing. Yeah, I'm just spreading happiness.
Yeah, mine is I wear scarves, so usually I wear
Mhm.
colorful scarves and colorful underwear.
Yes, and you're wearing it, and that's all that matters.
Energetically, I take the color in and it makes me happy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just
Yeah.
little things. And people don't realize the value of those little termite bites. They
Yeah.
are huge. Just add them together.
I keep that picture in mind when I talk about happiness the next time, the termites.
Nee, 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 nee.
Bonita, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. And again, I love the topic of the happiness and I'm excited to see what you're gonna bring to the table. Next things. How many more books?
Oh, I'm going to stop for a little while. I did request 15 ISBN numbers because I've been on a
Uh-huh.
roll lately.
Yeah.
So I figure after I get the 15, I'm going to take a little break and then we'll see what happens.
It's addictive, I know.
It is. Yeah, and the ideas just keep growing, and I don't want the books to become too big. So I'm breaking it down into concepts so that it's more manageable. You can find exactly what you're looking for in
Yeah.
this book, and you don't have to
Yeah.
go through all the extraneous stuff. And there's
Yeah.
workbooks to go with the books.
Mm.
So that's why I needed so many ISBN numbers, the book, the workbook.
You work like
Um,
me. I do the same thing because I want people to have their stuff where they can paint in it and they want to have their
yeah,
stuff where they can, yeah, no. And I find, again, if you have a workbook, you can reflect on what you're doing. While if you just have a book, usually if you just have the book itself, I don't like writing in books.
I'm the same. I have to protect my books. I was an English teacher. You don't write in a book. I was post-it notes all over the pages, but I would never write on the pages.
Okay. So again, if you want to talk to Bonita, sorry, he's making noises. If you want to talk to Bonita, her information will be in the bottom of the caption or is on the bottom of the caption. And I can't wait to see what's coming next. And I'll see you soon,
You bet.
wherever our paths will cross again. And I'm excited to see what's coming.
Excellent. Our happy paths will cross again, I'm sure.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thoughts are racing, spinning fast. Ideas flow, but never last. Waves of wonder, thoughts untamed. Nothing ever stays the same. Rambling on, no straight lines. Welcome to my busy mind. Ideas